Welcome to Market Mind Lab. Imagine you're browsing for clothes online and suddenly you see a model sitting completely upside down on a couch, wearing a jacket over her head. You've probably seen the memes, right? Well, let's explore why Zara models strike these bizarre upside-down poses and how this isn't just some creative mistake. It's actually a calculated business strategy designed to hijack your visual memory. In today's explainer, we're unpacking the dark psychology of fast fashion, specifically looking at how retail giants engineer our business decisions and leverage our own psychological biases to make us buy more.
So, let's dive into this bizarre strategy. Why on earth is the Zara model upside down? Well, think about your own behavior. When you're scrolling endlessly and you suddenly see strange, meme-worthy imagery like this, your brain naturally hits the brakes. Zara is deliberately creating a curiosity gap. It's a calculated decision to disrupt your normal scrolling pattern and hook your attention in a massive sea of digital noise.
This brilliant move illustrates exactly what psychologists call the von Restorff effect. It's a cognitive bias where an item that stands out, or is just completely bizarre, is much more likely to be remembered than something ordinary. This taps into a dark psychological tactic, ensuring that by acting weird, the brand cements itself permanently in your memory. You might not buy that upside-down jacket today, but I guarantee when you think of shopping next, Zara is going to be top of mind.
Section 1, the real-time data engine. To really understand this, look at the sheer contrast in decision intelligence. While traditional brands take about 150 days to predict future trends, design their collections, and manufacture the items, Zara pulls real-time data from 6,000 stores to design and deliver products in just 15 days. That's a massive strategic shift. They aren't sitting around trying to guess what you'll want in 6 months. They are rapidly reacting to exactly what you want right now.
Now, you might be wondering, how do they get that data so incredibly fast? Well, Zara hides a tiny RFID chip in garments that acts as an intelligent sensor. It literally tracks exactly how many times an item enters a fitting room but isn't purchased. They are analyzing the psychological conflict between your initial desire to try it on and your final decision not to buy it. Then, they instantly adjust their manufacturing strategy based on that specific failure.
Section 2. Engineering the perfect impulse.
A crucial hurdle these companies have to overcome is what's known as the wallpaper effect. This is where constant exposure to a familiar stimulus actually makes it invisible to the human brain. If a store window looks the exact same every time you walk by, your brain just filters it out. To combat this, Zara makes the strategic decision to release new items twice a week. This triggers a dopamine release and an intense fear of missing out. You don't visit the store for a specific shirt anymore. You visit for the thrill of the hunt and the rush of novelty.
They also heavily leverage dupe culture. This allows young professionals to experiment with their identity and purchase social signaling without having to drop thousands of dollars. The decision to buy isn't about long-lasting quality. It's about projecting a trendy image with very low financial risk. It's essentially a psychological shortcut to feeling successful.
Section 3, the digital dark pattern trap.
Once they have your attention and your dopamine is spiking, the business strategy pivots to ensuring you literally cannot leave empty-handed. They execute this by weaponizing your own brain against you. Zara produces intentionally small batches to create artificial scarcity. This triggers loss aversion, which dictates that the psychological pain of losing an item feels much stronger than the joy of acquiring it. When you see a low stock number, your logic shuts down and your brain basically goes full caveman to secure the item.
And this manufactured urgency is heavily amplified by digital dark patterns. Things like countdown timers glowing in red or urgency badges screaming, "Only 10 left," compress the critical time between your impulse and the checkout. They are expertly engineered to eliminate friction, successfully bypassing your brain's reflective override. They don't want to give you a single second to stop and think, "Wait, do I actually need this?"
Section 4. The true cost of speed.
But this exact same speed and artificial urgency that gives you a dopamine hit is responsible for tragic structural neglect globally. The relentless pressure to keep prices unbelievably low led to the 2013 Rana Plaza factory collapse in Bangladesh, killing over 1,000 workers in chemical-ridden environments. It's a sobering, grim reality of the global supply chain, showing how consumer demand for ultra-fast, ultra-cheap trends creates fatal consequences on the other side of the world.
Environmentally, the data is just as startling. This psychological machine results in the production of nearly 100 million tons of textile waste every single year. Let that sink in for a moment. 100 million tons.
The extreme speed required to constantly beat the wallpaper effect creates literal mountains of discarded garments.
Furthermore, to put that into perspective, this staggering overproduction means the fast fashion industry is directly responsible for 10% of total global carbon emissions. It's a massive, devastating environmental toll, and it's driven almost entirely by engineered consumer impulses.
And the scary part? The strategy is incredibly effective. Driven by these behavioral triggers, we currently buy 500% more clothing than we did in the 1990s. The industry has successfully rewired how an entire generation makes their purchasing decisions.
Ultimately, while the dopamine loop spins, the average American wastes about 82 pounds of textiles annually, leaving the planet to pay the tab. We get a fleeting thrill from the checkout button, but the long-term consequences are literally buried in our landfills.
Section 5. Breaking the fast fashion loop.
So how do we fix this? Well, to break this cycle, you must first recognize the underlying psychological biases driving your own behavior. A major trap to watch out for is aspirational identity. Beware of buying workout sets for routines you never actually start, because you are shopping for a fantasy version of yourself. You aren't dressing the person you are today, you're making an emotional purchase for a future ideal, which is exactly what their marketers want you to do.
You can actively disarm this trap by waiting 48 hours for the dopamine spike to settle before you hit checkout. Ask yourself honestly, am I just bored right now, or do I truly need this? Forcing this delay allows your brain's reflective override to finally boot back up, helping you build an intentional wardrobe that fits your actual life today.
Fast fashion really is a masterclass in modified human behavior, but you can choose to be a citizen rather than just a consumer. We have the power to support circular, resale, and repair models, demand brand transparency, and actively push back against manipulative digital dark patterns. I want to leave you with this final thought. Think about the very last must-have item your brain tricked you into buying. Is it actually in rotation right now, or is it just carrying quiet guilt in the back of your closet? Understanding the psychology behind your decisions is the very first step to changing them. Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and stay curious.